The first thing he noticed was the silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the heavy, wrong kind that presses against your chest and tells you something has shifted while you were gone. The second thing was the woman standing in his doorway, pale and exhausted, holding a baby against her chest while a little girl clutched her skirt like the world might fall apart if she let go. This was his house, his life, and yet somehow he had come home to find a widow and 2 children living inside it. And the truth behind their presence would crack open everything he thought he understood about loss, loyalty, and what it really means to belong. Before the story pulls you any deeper, pause for just a moment. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the idea that life can still surprise us in the most painful moments, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. These small actions help stories like this reach hearts that are quietly breaking. He had been away for 2 years. 2 years of dust-filled roads, temporary rooms, and nights where sleep never came easily. The job had taken him far from the valley where he grew up, far from the wooden house his father built with his own hands. He told himself the distance was necessary, that running was easier than staying, easier than facing the empty rooms after his brother's sudden death. When the work finally ended, he returned with a single bag, worn shoes, and a heart that felt older than his body. He expected emptiness. What he did not expect was to find strangers living inside his grief. The house looked smaller than he remembered, like it had aged while he was gone. The door creaked open to reveal signs of life everywhere. A child's shoes by the wall, laundry drying near the stove, a faint smell of soup that reminded him of winters long past. And there she stood, eyes filled with fear and determination at the same time, as if she had been bracing for this moment every day. The baby slept quietly, unaware of the tension hanging in the air, while the older child stared up at him with the cautious curiosity only children possess when the world feels unsafe. His first instinct was anger, a sharp, protective surge that asked who they were and why they were here. This house was all he had left of his family. Every beam and floorboard held memories of laughter, arguments, and long evenings shared with his brother. Seeing another family occupying that space felt like betrayal. But beneath the anger was confusion, and beneath the confusion, a deeper ache that had never really left him. He could not bring himself to step forward or turn away. He just stood there, caught between past and present. The woman's face told a story even before words formed. She looked thinner than she should have been, her shoulders tight with the weight of responsibility. The way she held the baby was not just protective but desperate, like someone who had learned too quickly that no one else was coming to help. The little girl leaned into her, fingers twisting fabric, eyes darting between him and the open field behind him as if calculating escape routes. This was not a family that had arrived by choice. This was a family that had run out of options. As the truth unfolded, it came not as an argument but as a confession shaped by exhaustion. She was his brother's wife. The word widow hovered in the air like a bruise. After the accident, everything had collapsed at once. The savings disappeared into hospital bills and burial costs. The small apartment in the city was lost when rent went unpaid. With nowhere else to go and no one left to ask, she came to the only place she still considered home. She had not known if he would ever return. She only knew that winter was coming and her children needed a roof. The baby stirred slightly, making a soft sound that cut through him more sharply than anger ever could. This child was his brother's blood. The little girl by the door had his brother's eyes. In that instant, the house no longer felt invaded. It felt haunted, by love, by memory, by a responsibility he had been avoiding since the day he left. He realized then that his absence had not frozen time. Life had kept moving, breaking, and reshaping itself without his permission. The days that followed were awkward and quiet. He slept in his old room, listening to unfamiliar footsteps at night. She moved through the house carefully, as if afraid to disturb him or remind him that she was still there. He told himself it was temporary, that once he sorted things out, he would figure out what to do. But nothing was simple. Jobs were scarce. Money was thin. And every morning he woke to the sound of children breathing in the next room, a sound that slowly began to stitch something back together inside him. He noticed small things first. How the little girl always set an extra spoon on the table without realizing it. How the baby calmed instantly when held close, like he recognized safety more than faces. How the woman stayed up late mending clothes by weak lamplight, her hands moving out of habit rather than hope. These were not intrusions. They were survival rituals. And watching them, he began to understand how much strength it took just to keep going when the world had already taken everything. One evening, the weight of unspoken tension finally broke. She spoke not with blame or expectation, but with a quiet honesty that stunned him more than anger ever could. She explained that she never meant to replace anyone, never meant to claim what was not hers. She said she would leave the moment he asked, even if it meant sleeping in the cold. But she also admitted something else, that she was tired of being strong, tired of pretending she could do this alone, tired of telling her children that tomorrow would be better when she wasn't sure she believed it herself. Those words stayed with him long after the house went dark. He realized then that grief had made all of them widows in different ways. She had lost a husband. The children had lost a father. And he had lost a brother and then run from the pain, leaving others to carry the consequences. For the first time since returning, he allowed himself to cry, not loudly, not dramatically, but in the quiet way that feels like surrender. Change did not come as a single decision. It came slowly, through shared meals and shared silences. He found small work nearby. She began helping neighbors with sewing and cleaning. The house warmed again, not just from the fire, but from laughter that surprised them both when it appeared. The little girl started to follow him around, handing him tools, watching him fix things her father once fixed. The baby reached for him without fear, as if sensing that he was meant to be there. What grew between them was not romance, at least not at first. It was trust. It was partnership. It was the understanding that none of them had chosen this life, but they could choose how to live it. He stopped seeing the house as something that had been taken from him. Instead, it became something shared, a place where broken people learned how to breathe again. Just before the ending of this story, I want to ask you something special. Please pause and comment below with a single word or sentence about what family means to you. Your thoughts might be exactly what someone else scrolling through needs to read today. In time, the valley no longer felt like a place of ghosts. It felt alive. He realized that coming home had never been about reclaiming what he lost, but about accepting what remained. The widow and the two children were no longer strangers. They were not a burden or a reminder of pain. They were the unexpected answer to a question he had never known how to ask. How do you keep living after loss? Near the end, when the seasons turned and the house stood strong against another winter, he understood the meaning of her words that first night, not as a demand, but as a truth. She had not asked for charity. She had asked for mercy. And in giving it, he had found his own. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like the video, share it with someone who believes in compassion, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps keep these stories alive. Sometimes, all it takes to change a life is opening a door you thought was already closed.